Just a week ago, a declassified CIA document about the secret project re-emerged. The report was 19 pages long. You know what they were looking for?
The Ark of the Covenant was the focal point of religious devotion, the place where God spoke to the world.
A discovery that could reshape everything we thought we knew about history. A revelation so stunning, it's sending shockwaves across the globe. The CIA, yes, the CIA, has just confirmed something that will leave you in awe. The Ark of the Covenant has been found. It's no longer a mystery, no longer hidden in the annals of time. We now know where it is, and the implications? Monumental. We're talking about a discovery that could change the course of history, faith, and culture as we know it.
Was there some Indiana Jones fanboys in CIA who wanted to trace the Ark of the Covenant? If so, for what? The opening page of the release document says training target 0209 is the Ark of the Covenant. The mission was conducted on December 5th, 1988. This was not a regular mission involving spies and secret agents, rather psychic attempting to locate the Ark of the Covenant using ESP or extrasensory perception. This is what the evaluation of the mission says. Viewer 032 attained excellent sight contact. Does that mean CIA located the hidden location of the Ark of the Covenant? Let's explore this question and more in this segment. Particularly, I want to go over the session summary and the description of the Ark of the Covenant and evaluate whether it correlates with the biblical Ark of the Covenant. As you already might know, Ark of the Covenant is one of the most intriguing biblical artifacts. We have 8 exciting episodes on the Ark of the Covenant in this channel. If you are interested, you can check out the episodes. I will add the links to the Ark of the Covenant series in the description below. I'm sure you will find the series very interesting and informative. Welcome to Discern Scripture YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by to check out this episode. If you like the content of this video, please like and share. Also, please do subscribe and help us reach a wider audience. Now, let's get on with the video. CIA mission to locate the Ark of the Covenant, Project Sunstreak. Project Sunstreak was a classified US government program that operated primarily during the late 1980s under the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, with involvement from the CIA. It was an evolution of earlier initiatives like Project Stargate, which began in the 1970s to explore the potential remote viewing, a technique where psychics used extrasensory perception to visualize hidden objects, people, or events. The goal was to harness the unconventional occultic method for intelligence gathering during the Cold War with Russia. Maybe they were targeting Soviet military sites or missing persons or other strategic assets that conventional espionage couldn't reach. Project Sunstreak officially ran from around 1986 to 1990. Its exact scope remains unclear due to limited declassification. The document related to the Ark of the Covenant was released for public view in the 2000s, and it re-emerged recently, right after the sensational claim that there were huge hidden structures under the pyramids. And that's why this news also got some traction in the social media. Let's analyze the declassified CIA document. What have they actually discovered? Remote viewing, or ESP, was the technique employed in the search for the Ark of the Covenant. The psychic number 32 was given specific coordinates and then asked to describe a target there. The coordinate was 78 degrees 08 minutes 27.6 degrees north, 110 degrees 07 minute 15.6 seconds east. The session lasted for about 1 hour and a half from 9:15 to 10:45. The psychic provided the description of the place, its surrounding, the object, its features, and so on. Let's go over the summary of the CIA report and see whether it corresponds to the biblical Ark of the Covenant. The one-page session summary provides 4 interesting information: a description of the Ark of the Covenant, its location, its purpose, and its current status. Let's go over them one by one and analyze whether it matches the biblical description of the Ark of the Covenant. The description of the Ark of the Covenant, according to the CIA document. A target is a container. This container has another container inside of it. The target is fashioned of wood, gold, and silver. The target is similar in shape, AOL, a coffin, and is decorated with seraphim. See sketch page 16. The description says the target is a container. That is true. Ark of the Covenant was a container. Because it contained the tablets of the covenant, that's why it was called the Ark of the Covenant. Apart from this basic fact, the psychic's description contradicts with what we know about the biblical Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant was itself a container. It didn't have another container inside of it, as the psychic claimed. The biblical Ark of the Covenant was made with wood and covered with gold. There was no silver used on the Ark of the Covenant, according to the biblical description. But the psychic claims that there was gold and silver and wood involved in the making of this ark. That is simply not true. The psychic says that the target is in the shape of a coffin. Egyptian coffins would be roughly about 200 centimeters long, but the Ark of the Covenant is much shorter, about 130 centimeters long. This is not the size of a coffin. It is a much smaller chest. Most important error is the last reference. The psychic says that the target is decorated with seraphim. There is this sketch of seraphim in page 16. Now, seraphims were one group of angels, literally meaning fiery ones or burning ones. It is important to note that the biblical Ark of the Covenant didn't have any decorations of seraphims, but there were two cherubims placed on the top of the Ark of the Covenant. In fact, in the Bible, the tabernacle, temple, Ark of the Covenant were all decorated with cherubims, not seraphims. As far as I can remember, seraphims were not represented in the temple or tabernacle iconography. Now, second, the location of the Ark of the Covenant according to the CIA document. As we noted above, there is a MRGS coordinate given in the document. It looks like the CIA has given the specific coordinate to the psychic and asked the person to look in a specific location. The second paragraph in the session summary describes the surrounding like a bird's eye view. And then we also get a closer glimpse of the situation where the ark itself is currently located in paragraph 3. Let's read from the session summary. This target is located somewhere in the Middle East, as the language spoken by the individuals present seemed to be Arabic. Visuals of surrounding buildings indicated the presence of mosque domes. See page 12. Individuals in the area were clothed in virtually all white, had black hair and dark eyes. One figure I homed in on wore a mustache. And third paragraph says the target is hidden, underground, dark, and wet, were all the aspects of the location of the target. The psychic claims to locate the object in the Middle East, since he sees mosque domes and hears people speaking Arabic, and people were wearing white. Their feature is Middle Eastern, black hair, dark eyes, one person even having a mustache. In fact, in page 12, there is a mosque dome drawing, most likely drawn by the psychic himself as he was going through this occultic session. But there is one problem, that is the coordinates. 78 degrees north and 110 degrees east. People have already pointed out this problem. This is what one critique wrote. The way Sunstreak worked was the interviewer gave the psychic geographic coordinates while keeping the target secret. The document gives MRGS coordinates 781410/110-121, but without a grid zone or square designation that could be anywhere on the planet. Where were they looking? In another post, the same person critiqued and said, the results sound suspiciously similar to the well of souls from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, here's the scene at the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Mosques, people speaking in Arabic, white clothes, even men with mustaches. Looks like the psychic was recollecting from the adventures of the Indiana Jones movie that he might have seen earlier. He was certainly an indie fan. Well, jokes aside, most Arabic-speaking countries are roughly located between 20 degrees to 50 degrees north in latitude. No Arab-speaking Middle Eastern country exists in the southern hemisphere either. The given coordinates in the CIA documents are 78 degrees north. It is beyond the geographic range of countries where Arabic is currently spoken. It's beyond the Middle Eastern countries mentioned in the report. If you type in these coordinates to find the location, it takes us to a remote location north of Russia, somewhere in the Arctic Ocean. We won't find any Arab-speaking, white cloth-wearing men with mustaches eating kebabs out there for sure. This coordinate looks ambiguous and unclear. At least that's what it looks to me. If anyone has a better explanation for this coordinate, you can let me know in the comment section below. Also, in page 13 of the report, there is this symbol of a grave with 8 dead buried bodies lined up. It's written mummies in plural next to it. For sure, we don't have this many mummies in Israel. Perhaps this location is in Egypt, the Valley of the Kings. The psychic seems to favor the Egyptian location for the Ark of the Covenant. That sure seems to suggest another Indiana Jones connection right there. Now, some think that the description of the location looks like the Cave of the Patriarchs in Hebron in Israel. But GPS coordinates of the Cave of Patriarchs is 31.5247 degrees north, 35.1107 degrees east. It's in the 30s, not in the 70s, as the CIA document mentions. If it was the Cave of Patriarchs, there would be people speaking Hebrew and Arabic, not just Arabic. It doesn't seem to be the case. Also, there must be only one mummy, not 8 in the Cave of the Patriarchs. Jacob's body was mummified and buried in the cave, but Joseph's mummy was buried in a different location in Shechem. You don't have 8 mummies in the Cave of Patriarchs, so it cannot be that location. Now, moving on to paragraph 3, this is what it says. The target is hidden, underground, dark, and wet were all aspects of the location of the target. It says that the object is hidden underground in a wet and dark place. Now, there are many theories about the location of the Ark of the Covenant. You can watch the first part in the Ark of the Covenant series from this channel. The locations are all explored in some detail in the video. For the purpose of this video, let's go with the common Jewish view. They believe that Prophet Jeremiah hid the Ark of the Covenant somewhere under the Temple Mount before the capture of the Jerusalem by the Babylonians and the destruction of the temple in 586 BC. Jeremiah hid it with the help of some godly priest in some underground tunnels beneath the Temple Mount. Another variation of the story says he took it to Mount Nebo and stored it in a hidden location. This underground and hidden reference might relate with the Jewish view. All these might relate with the Jewish view. However, the reference to wetness is quite interesting. If the ark is indeed kept in a wet place for the last 2,500 years, the wood would have crumbled to dust centuries earlier. Third, the purpose of the Ark of the Covenant. The next paragraph in the session summary centers on the purpose of the Ark of the Covenant. This is what it reads. The purpose of the target is to bring the people together. See page 16. It has something to do with ceremony, memory, homage, resurrection. There is an aspect of spirituality, information, lessons, and historical knowledge far beyond what we now know. The description is, as usual, generic. What does the psychic mean by bring people together? The biblical Ark of the Covenant was used as a means to rally people as they marched through the wilderness. It was used to rally people to fight wars in few occasions. Once it was placed in the temple, it was hidden from the public eyes and stayed that way for about 400 years and then permanently disappeared from history. What sort of ceremony the psychic is making reference to? Maybe sacrificial ceremony? Also, the reference to homage and resurrection is strange. As far as the biblical Ark of the Covenant is concerned, it was never associated with resurrection. Sure, it was associated with death. 2 sons of Aaron who approached the ark casually were struck down. Priest Uzzah was struck down when he reached to touch the ark and he died. There is no reference of anyone being resurrected after coming in contact with the Ark of the Covenant. At least it's not mentioned in the 66 books of the Bible. The last line sounds quite New Age, historical knowledge far beyond what we know. This is the kind of language the makers of Ancient Aliens conspiracy series would use. Well, after all, this report is about a psychic, obviously using a New Age language to describe a mystical, mythical object that he or she located in Middle East underground in a dark chamber. What else we can expect? Ambiguity, generic descriptions are to be expected in this regard. Finally, its present and future status. The last paragraph in the session summary reports on the present status of the ark and its future. The target is protected by entities, see page 14, and can only be opened now by those who are authorized to do so. This container cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. Once it is time to open the container, the mechanics of the lock system will be found to be fairly simple. Individuals opening the container by prying or striking are destroyed by container's protectors. See page 17. To the use of power unknown to us. The psychic says the target is protected by entities in the present. They are like the protectors or guardians of the Ark of the Covenant. If anyone attempts to open it by force, they will be destroyed by the protectors who would use unknown source of power. Who are these entities and protectors that have the capacity to wield unknown power? It says in page 14. Page 14 contains several words: spirits, ghosts. Perhaps they are demonic spirits and ghosts. Does the Bible tell anything about ghosts protecting the Ark of the Covenant? Definitely a big no. What about the future of this target object, the Ark of the Covenant? Will it be found? The report says yes, until the time is deemed right. Once it's time to open the container, it means the container will be found and it will be open. It talks about a lock system and the keys. The psychic believes that in the future, the object would be found and opened using the lock system. Well, you know what happens when Nazis open the Ark of the Covenant in the Raiders of the Lost Ark. The report says, can only be opened by those who are authorized to do so. It's an interesting sentence. Let's ask this question. Who were authorized to open the Ark of the Covenant in the Bible? Priests were allowed to carry the Ark of the Covenant. High priest was allowed to make atonement before the Ark of the Covenant. However, none of them, not the Levites, not the priest, not the high priest, were allowed to touch or open the biblical Ark of the Covenant. In fact, at one point, when Israelites opened the ark, God struck them down with a plague, and many people perished as a result in a place called Beth Shemesh. The biblical Ark of the Covenant was not a treasure chest with locks and keys. It was a container with stone tablets. It was a boxy container with heavy golden lid. Bible doesn't mention that it was locked at all. The lid was simply kept on the container. Yes, the mercy seat or the top lid was laid over the container. It was neither locked with keys nor opened by individuals. No one was allowed to go near it, nor touch it, or open it. What this psychic says here sounds completely unbiblical. It is probably not referring to the biblical Ark of the Covenant. All in all, though claiming to have described and located the Ark of the Covenant, the object that is being described is loosely similar to the ark. However, it is fundamentally and quite different in various aspects from the biblical Ark of the Covenant. It is my closing reflection. What is quite shocking when we read about this secret CIA project Sunstreak is the use of psychics and occultic rituals to locate a biblical object. God warned Israel not to consult those who engage in occultic, demonic practices for knowledge beyond human grasp about future or anything else. Leviticus chapter 19 verse 31 says this: do not defile yourself by turning to mediums or to those who consult the spirits of the dead. I am the Lord your God. Isaiah chapter 8 verse 19 and 20. When someone tells you to consult mediums and spiritists who whisper and mutter, should not a person inquire of their God? Why consult the dead on behalf of the living? People of Israel were commanded by God to stay away from demonic rituals that would defile them. If people want to know about anything, they must seek the Lord for wisdom and revelation. The God of the Bible is a revealer of secrets to those who ask him, just like Daniel. That's how God revealed the mysteries to Daniel when he and his friends prayed and trusted God for knowledge. We can be interested in knowing what happened to the Ark of the Covenant and other biblical objects. However, resorting to occultic rituals, these demonic methods to get secret knowledge is unbiblical, and it would lead to defilement and demonic oppression. Finally, the Ark of the Covenant, just like the other symbols of the Old Testament, like the sacrifices, like the priesthood, was pointing to Jesus Christ. In the Old Testament times, Ark of the Covenant had two functions. It contained the tablets of the covenant, the words of God, and it was the place where atonement was made for the sins of the nations of Israel on the Day of Atonement. Both of these functions were fulfilled in Jesus Christ. The Word of God was kept in the Ark of the Covenant. Jesus was the Word became flesh. As the high priest, Jesus entered the Holy of Holies and sprinkled his own perfect blood on the mercy seat. Sin is forever atoned with the final sacrifice of Christ. Today, we no longer need the Ark of the Covenant. By believing in the atoning sacrifice of Jesus, we can be reconciled with God. Ark of the Covenant has now become irrelevant, just like the priesthood, just like the sacrifices of the Old Testament. They are fulfilled and they are no longer necessary. It is Jesus, through him alone, humanity will have salvation and eternal life. Finally, it is interesting to analyze the strange happenings of the Project Sunstreak. However, the project did not prove the existence or the location of the Ark of the Covenant. Some CIA historians say that there is no hint of the government actually tracking down the relic. However, for now, let's go with the conclusion given by the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Where is the Ark?
I thought we'd settled that. The Ark is somewhere very safe.
Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and support our channel. Click on the bell icon so that you can get notification whenever we post a new video. Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. God bless you all. Shalom.